All right, welcome everyone. My name is Rob Payo. I'm with Denver Urban Gardens, and this is the start of our monthly webinar series, our series program of Proceed with the Fun, activities with young children. I'm the Director of Youth Education, and my right-hand person that I could not do without, who I'm attached to the hip, Jungle Judy. Judy, you want to say hi to everybody there?
Sure. Jungle Judy checking in here. I am just delighted to be with you. I am the Senior Education Specialist with Rob at Denver Urban Gardens, and all things soil that can connect people of all ages.
Very good. Esmeralda, nice to see you there. Welcome. Well, it's wintertime, and when you're thinking about the garden, it's time to dream and wonder. And Judy, you had an interesting encounter even just today. What happened?
So I mean, I would encourage people to look at that incredible red fox. And if that is not just the epitome of relaxation and dreaming, whether it's about his next meal or just looking at the scenario around him. And what happened to me, this was just off the cuff as things do happen. I was driving down for our encounter tonight, and I saw a young mom with two kids. One was in a stroller and another one was by her side. And this young little person was probably 3 years old at the most. And what he was doing with a look of wonder on his face, he had found some melting ice, which was filthy dirty. And mom was looking up at him kind of with a look of, yeah, don't do that. And what did he do? He broke it into a million pieces. And as he listened to it cracking, he saw the water as it hit the warm sidewalk. And he just had this round O on his face. Not only did he do that, but then he moved up closer to one of the buildings and he found one of the downspouts from the building with water rushing out of it. So a look of utter joy on his face was when he stuck his hand up the downspout and everything became clear. Joy and wonder at this time of the year, dreaming of possibilities.
Everything became clear. Well, thank you for that, Judy. We're looking forward to sharing with you some activities that cultivate that sense of wonder, that sense of curiosity. But before we do, I encourage you to type in the chat where you're from, why you joined us, and something that made you really happy this year. And we'll just take a few moments to do that. Let me, forgive me, I got to get the chat. I'm going to type in the chat here for everybody there, the question that we have in mind there. Oh, so go ahead and type in the chat. Judy, what made you happy from last year?
The fact that I could find a wondrous web of connection under decomposing leaves. So early spring, before I even planted my garden, I went out to look at the leaf bags that I had out in my garden, and I picked them up, and they were plastic bags, but escaping from the plastic bags were all kinds of worms. And every place where the worms were, there was nothing in the way of leaves. So I was just amazed by how nature gives us everything that we need to learn.
Thanks, Judy. I'm going to stop and just have everybody on because it's nice to just stop here for a moment. Grace is from Urban Farm. So nice to have you, Grace. It made me happy, beyond happy to get hired at the Urban Farm last year. Well, that was a win, wasn't it? Esmeralda, Shinrin Yoku in Boulder makes me happy. I get that. Nora, I continue to enjoy watching the wonder of my cats exploring our small patio garden. Several grasshoppers were killed in the process.
Rob, can I introduce something right now?
Yeah.
Nora, I would love to have some of your cats over to kill the epidemic of grasshoppers that I have on my property. Thank you for sharing that.
She's not kidding. She has a lot of them. I've seen them. They're vicious.
Oh, goodness.
And Nora, you made me think about my dog. My dog, Escondido, it just gave me a lot of pleasure. I'm just very happy that I got that dog. And my niece, Pam, and her lovely daughter, Alice. Hi, Alice. They're calling from Libertyville, Illinois. We joined because we we love learning, and Uncle Robbie makes us happy. Well,
Oh, wait a minute. Did we mention
here we go.
Jennifer, what she said?
Yeah, I've got it here. Jen says, I'm originally an East Coaster, but I've lived in Denver for the past 18 years and teach with TPS. Something that made me happy is watching my daughter eat in the garden this summer and fall. Jen, I bet that was a special time for you. And it's nice to have you. Karen Ferguson from Lakewood. Last year, a great thing is that I started taking classes at CU Denver to get certificate in sustainable urban gardening. How nice. And Amy with Denver Public Library, the librarian at the new branch, the Art Park branch. I joined today because I love working with kids, and this is a great opportunity to get outdoors with them. My family moved from California in October, and our new home makes me very happy. Well, welcome to Colorado. That's great, Amy. And Nora, one cat tortures, the other eats grasshoppers immediately. It's sort of like a 1-2 mafia, a cat mafia there. All right. Well, nice to see. Oh, it's just so nice to see Pam and Alice. Hi, Alice. Okay. Rosa, what made me happy was getting a grant to work on sustainable gardens through HTFK.
Oh,
Amen, Rosa. We're so grateful for that money to help do our programs. And Laura says the snow made us happy this year. Yeah, yes, you know, we need more of that here. Yes, so. Well, thanks for doing that. I think it's worth a while to just take the moment to think about what you know, so much happened last year. It's nice to take a moment to be like, well, what happened that what made us happy? So thanks for that. Now, in a moment, are you ready? We're going to do some observations. In a minute, we're going to look at a picture. And what I invite is for you to think about, what do you notice? What do you wonder about? And what questions come up? So take a look at this picture here. I'll give you just a moment there. And if you're welcome to come on the mic if you unmute yourself and just say something you notice or something that you find interesting, or type in the chat. What do you notice in there? Laura, what do you notice? What do you, and Zia, Miss Zia, noticing? You want to get on the mic there and just tell us?
A Sia le gusta, Sia says she likes these ones on the right side, ¿cierto, amor?
On the right side? Why do you like the ones on the
them?
right side there, Zia?
In white.
They have white?
What else?
Okay.
White and
Oh, the rice. Mm-hmm. Looks like.
I like that one because they look beautiful, because they have black and white.
Ah, so there's black and white. So you like black and white. So you noticed they were beautiful. Yeah. Are there ones that are there other ones that are beautiful there, Zia? Do you see other ones that are you think are beautiful? No, that's the most beautiful one, right? Right. Do you see ones that are round?
Round.
Yeah.
I like those ones too. I like
Which ones?
These ones, the ones all the way to the left.
All the way to the left. Oh, okay. Why do you like them? What makes you say that? Why do you like them, Zia? I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. So
I like them because they have dots on them.
They have dots. Okay. Pam says Alice likes the ones that look like M&Ms. And Jen notices a variety of colors and textures. Karen likes the ones that you could eat. And let's see what else. Oh, Nora says the different shapes and textures and colors. Rosa agrees with colors and shapes. And Nora imagines cooking and eating them. Yes, yeah, there's all different types. And we're actually going to look at some of these other seeds as well. Just spending the time noticing and encouraging students or kids to observe and notice things without naming them is something that we can encourage young children to do. There's this temptation that as adults to go, oh yeah, those are pumpkin seeds, and you remember when we were in Halloween, but just to give them the time and space to ask their own questions, to talk to you about what they're noticing, how it's connected to their lives, and for them to then talk to one another as well, because that's what we're trying to cultivate at a very young age and to continue into their learning. All right. So now we've done some observations. Let's look at some activities that are related to making comparisons. Our brains are pattern makers. They're wired to make meaning. And one way they make meaning is by looking at different patterns, comparing things. I'm going to pass this over to Judy, and she's going to explain and show us some activities there. Go ahead, Judy.
So before we go to the next slide, just when I look at this bowl, there are so many things that are appropriate for children. One of the things that I notice are the different colors. Now, if we're going to do sorting using pots or any type of cups, that means we're going to arrange them according to different things. So one of the things that I like to do, since these pots over here had holes in them, would be to just take a piece of paper or newspaper, put it in the bottom so the seeds don't fall out, and then start by in each cup picking up a different seed, putting it in the cup. And for very young children, they can try matching a seed that looks the same. How many seeds can you find that look the same? You might want to sort according to color. You might want to sort according to how that seed feels. But there are many different things, just looking at the array of things that we can grow, that we can learn from, again, without naming them. This is a fun activity to start by just letting kids put their hands in the bowl and feel. So Rob, why don't you go on to the next slide, which will explain seed sorting a little bit more. Oh, sorry, before we go on to that, can you put me back on? So we'll see how this is going to work. One of the things that I like to do with kids is to just use seed packets, and let me explain this. I will put on a table, and you can see this, these are just coin envelopes, a seed packet, and then in the coin envelope, I'll dump out the seeds. So here, I've got tomato and pepper. Let me hold up some more. My next ones, cauliflower, broccoli, and my third opportunity would be pumpkins, and some kind of squash, whether it's zucchini. You can use other things. You can also use beans. One of the things you can do is put a whole bunch of seeds out in envelopes on the table, and then ask kids to look at the seeds, to feel them through the envelope. So go ahead and feel the seeds and describe what they feel like. Are they smooth? Are they bumpy? Are they rough? Are they big? Are they tiny, like a broccoli or cauliflower? And then put them next to another seed that looks just like that. This is a wonderful thing for kids because they're also looking at behind the packet of seeds is a vegetable. So this is a time for you to mention, is this something that you know that you eat? Look, here's cauliflower. Here's a tomato. Here's a pepper. You could use chilies. Here's a pumpkin that everybody knows. Seeds look really different. And here's a squash that we use when we cook. So allowing children to just put this on a table, feel it through the envelope, describe their color, their shape, if they've ever maybe even seen anything that looks or feels like that, and then put the seeds together that they think belong together, is a wonderful seed sorting activity that gets kids into an understanding that seeds can be very different, but they also grow plants. So Rob, I think we're ready for our next slide. And that leads us into an understanding of pepper, grows into a pepper. Tomato seeds grow into tomatoes, so they don't grow into peppers, although they look the same. when you plant a squash seed, it's not going to produce a pumpkin. It produces a squash. Pumpkin grows into pumpkin. And then our broccoli seeds make little trees that are so good for us. So an understanding that a seed produces a certain end result is something that kids love to say.
But when they're looking at them, they start to notice something, right, Judy?
They start to notice, aha, this is similar. And where does this seed come from? And I wonder, if I plant this seed, what is it going to grow in? Where are these seeds produced?
Mhm.
Have I ever seen these seeds in a certain place? If I help mom in cooking and I cut open a tomato, might I find something inside? Might I find something in a pepper? At Halloween time, when we're carving pumpkins, what happens if I stick my hand into that gooey mess? Do I come out with a whole bunch of something? Absolutely, a whole bunch of seeds.
And
Did you
one of
know
the
that?
things that I'm noticing is they're very, the groups of seeds are very similar.
They
They look the
are
same,
very,
like the squash and pumpkin in particular, look at that.
look at that.
I
And
mean, I'd have a hard time seeing whether or not it was from a squash or a pumpkin.
You would, and I wonder what that might be. I wonder if they might be related, Rob. Do you think so? They might be in a family like we are. So it's very easy to make another connection with children that pepper and tomato.
Ooh.
I can't hear.
Yeah, I can't hear for some reason. Hold on a second.
Judy's on mute. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, Judy's on mute. That's right.
I don't know why I was on mute. But when you see vegetables that or seeds that look the same, that shapes are similar, very often those vegetables in the same group type, although the vegetables look different, their seeds belong to each other. They're very similar. They're a family. So the fact that children can recognize tomato seeds and pepper seeds, then we can put them in the same family. That they can recognize cabbage if you had, and broccoli and cauliflower seeds, round black seeds that roll. They grow to be different vegetables, but they're in the same family. Just like we are. We all look different, but we are a family.
Laura, did you want to say anything there?
When we burn, so the pumpkins, so the pumpkin
Seeds.
seeds, you put them in the oven, and
Yeah.
then
They're yummy.
then when you burn them, they're all yummy. And then after that, they're super crunchy.
That's right. They're super yummy.
They're crunchy. So Zia knows that you can eat some of the seeds. I love that. Even when you burn them. Great.
Even when you burn them.
Thank you, Zia.
Sounds like my cooking. There we go.
Okay.
Well, Judy, thank you so much for that activity. And I want to come back to this idea that we started with, this idea of how important it is to allow for time and opportunity for kids to slow down and to observe. We live very fast-paced lives, and to allow kids to have that chance to just take a look at something, and again, just asking them questions, to slow down, to notice things, and then to connect those to things that they're wondering about. What is it that they have questions about? And I can look at the things I'm wondering, and I can ask more questions or explore it some more, and without again putting names or words to it. And then eventually I want to then understand what I'm learning, and maybe then I could look at a book at that point, or find out more information, or watch a video or something like that. So this progression of allowing students and kids, sorry, I'm in the student mode here, of observing and then taking those things into wonder, and then to take those wonderings to then say, oh, well, I think I want to learn, what do I want to learn about this? And doing that together. All right. So we're going to continue to show different examples of what that looks like. So Judy, we've got our beans, and I'm going to pass this over to you. Go ahead, Judy.
Yeah, so I'm looking at a bean, which might be a pinto bean. Okay. And when I hold up a glass of water and I hold up a pinto bean, can you see, can you pin me maybe? Or
Let me see. Let me have you pin.
let me see.
You should be pinned. Let me do that.
Yeah,
There we go.
I can hold it. Okay. So if I hold up my glass of water, and next to the glass of water, I might have a pinto bean or whatever kind of bean it is, and I put it down, I can look at the bean and I say, I wonder what's going to happen if I put that bean in water. If I put that bean in water, is it going to change? So one of the things that I have done, just to speed up the process a little bit, is to take some lima beans. These are just lima beans that you would cook with, and I soak them, just like this pinto bean, except I just put this one in. I soak these overnight in just a clear cup of water. And what I found is the beans doubled in size. So I noticed that when I put the bean in water, they got bigger. That's what I observed. And that made me wonder, putting it in water, where did all that water go? I wonder where that water went. If that had any reason, if that water went inside the seed, is that why it's so big? And I can show that even more so. I took a very beautiful bean seed, which is called a Christmas. That was a large lima bean that I showed you. This is a Christmas speckled lima bean. Very beautiful. And I would first have the child, or you just kind of put it on their hand and describe the different color from the lima bean. What color is it? Does it draw your eye? What does it feel like? And then what I can do is either soak it in water or somehow roll it up in a moist paper towel. And in 2 days, 2.5 days, our bean, something happened with the water, so it now became this size. Can everybody see that? Oh my goodness, this to this. It's magic with the help of this. So somehow the water must be going inside this seed, same thing, and letting it grow. And you know, you can do the same thing by working with your children when you're cooking. If any of you have ever made chili or anything like that, and you soak beans in water and they get bigger, bigger, bigger like that, what's happening is they're getting ready to produce food for you. So I think that's what I want to show on this, and we're ready for. So this is part of growth. So I'm thinking questions that come up for me might be where the water went. Is that why? Why did this seed get so big? Could this seed be getting ready to grow? I don't know. Can we look at another slide, Rob?
You bet. So let's get back our slides here and talk about this some more. So, Esmeralda popped out there. Okay. Now, here's another group of seeds. So what do you notice, you in the audience there, what do you notice about these seeds? What questions come up? What are you noticing? Go ahead and type in the chat or unmute yourself and tell us, what do you notice? What do you see? What colors do you see?
Slimy.
Oh, I love that word, slime. Oh, look at this.
Slimy.
They
Jen
look
says
like
they look like
eyeballs
eyeballs or
or
fish
fish
eggs.
eggs. Oh my
So are they
goodness.
fish eggs?
I love
Wow,
that.
yeah. What makes you say they look like fish eggs, Jen? What do you notice about it that makes you say that?
I agree with Zia. It's because they're slimy.
They're slimy. Yes, they look really slimy.
Oh my goodness.
They're actually seeds, but why would seeds want to be slimy? Or how might that help them to be slimy? If you're a seed, why would that be? Not that all seeds, do all seeds do that? Do all seeds become slimy and look like fish eggs?
That might be another question.
Yeah, these are the questions we want to know about. Is it protection, Nora says? That could be. So I'm gonna make this slimy stuff so that, you know, some, one of Nora's cats won't eat me, you know. Alice, what else do you see on there, honey? Do you see the color of the seeds? What color are the seeds there, honey? Yeah. Well, these are, yeah, thanks, Pam. These are the questions that we would want to continue. And I'll tell you right now, though, these are basil seeds. So if you're interested or curious about that, you may want to find out more about, well, why do basil seeds do something like this? All right.
Rob,
So,
are we noticing something that's, can you go back to that slide just a moment?
mhm.
Does everybody see that little white thing coming out? Almost looks like it's swimming. I'm wondering if that is a tail. Is that a tadpole? What in the world could
I have
that?
no
I love the slimy eyeballs.
idea.
There is this little thing coming out the bottom. Is it legs? Are those legs for walking? I am wondering all these questions. I'm not going to give you answers, but all those things, there is no one wrong answer because we're trying to stimulate curiosity.
Mhm. Now, that bean activity that Judy was talking about, we have a curriculum that's actually more designed for upper elementaries, not necessarily for younger kids, but you know, you could certainly adapt that for younger children. If you go to our website, go to education and go into the youth education section, you can download our curriculum. We have a garden education curriculum that goes through all the different seasons. And our curriculum is called Healthy Seedlings. So if that's something you're interested in, you just fill out the form and then you'll be able to download our curriculum. There's lots of different activities that are aligned to the standards. And in the future, we'll be updating that curriculum and building out our early childhood curriculum as well. There's a site called Exploratorium. It's a science center in San Francisco. It's an amazing place. They even have an activity about beans in water. And we found this resource. I'll share this with you and other links from this presentation in an email. But we found these pictures to be really helpful, right, Judy? Do you want to talk about those pictures there, the beans?
Absolutely. Rob, how do I get rid of the pictures on the right-hand side of the screen?
You mean the gallery?
Yeah, all of us.
You can just drag it over. If you just, at the top of all the pictures of us, if you just drag it over a little bit, you can. You click on it and drag.
Well, drag it over.
Yeah.
Ah, I just hit it. Okay, wonderful. Okay, that works. Yeah, no, what I want to describe just on this for people who might not know about this, soaking the seeds like we did, if you soak the seed, that lima bean that I showed you in the cup, that was just overnight. But if you soak it a little bit more, can everybody see the arrow that I'm pointing? Does that show up, Rob? If I point that with my cursor?
I can help you with it though.
Can you point that at the bottom of the seed, the one on the left? No, the one further to the left. Yeah, on the first picture.
This one here.
Yes, and if you go down to the bottom, I want everybody to look at the bottom of that seed, and there is a little depression. So the seed actually has a coat around it. That's the seed coat. I'm going to have right around the seed. And in order for the seed to start growing, the first thing that happens, so that's going to be the seed coat. And then this part that Rob just drew on that looks like a little belly button at the bottom is the place where the first root emerges. That's called the hilum. You don't need to remember that. But this is really cool. If you soak those seeds for another few hours, then you can take your finger really quickly or really carefully with the children and actually scrape that seed coat off, separate the two seed halves, and oh my goodness, look what we have. We have the little root, we have the stem coming up, and the first little baby leaves. Sometimes it breaks off, but kids immediately are fascinated by that. And you have to soak the seeds long enough so that you can scrape everything off. I've worked with preschoolers, ECE, where all they wanted was, more seeds, Miss Judy, more seeds, more seeds. Can I plant these? Can I plant these? And then they tend to get really upset if some of those roots break off. But what a wonderful way of experiencing the first part of growth. What I found, if you're going to use lima beans, then the large lima beans, it has to say the larger the seed, the easier those seed halves are to break apart. So this is a wonderful activity that costs very little money. I usually soak 20 to 40 seeds at a time, never have enough for kids. You can additionally bring in a little hand lens like it shows you. And then some of the kids, some of the older ones might want to sketch the root and what they see.
And this site, the Exploratorium site, goes into a little more of the science behind what's going on when the bean gets bigger, and a cultural reference too, in terms of George Washington Carver and his work in agriculture. So if that's something you're interested in, you can take a look more at that site there. All right, are we ready to move on, Judy?
We're ready to move on, thank you.
Okay, well, observing seeds makes me wonder, where do we find the seeds of a plant? Where do they come from? So now we're going to be looking at activities related to that. All right, so along the way, we're going to be highlighting some books that talk about this. So Judy, this is a beautiful book here, right?
I just love this book because it breaks down typical things. This is called, what a wonderful title, A Fruit is a Suitcase for Seeds. So it just carries its seeds inside. So just typical things that we might eat, tomatoes, breaking up a tomato, and you can see one seed would produce one plant, an eggplant, the same family as tomato, all kinds of squashes that when you cut them open, before you can eat them, you need to scrape out the seed. Cucumbers that kids love to eat, one of the easiest fruits to get them to eat, carry their seeds inside. Green peas inside the pod. Another thing that kids love, and it's not too early to introduce them to, is when you cut open a vegetable and it carries its seeds inside, it's really what we call a fruit. So anything that carries its seeds inside is a fruit, in addition to our apples and pears. And some plants don't produce their seeds inside, so they're not fruit. Our salad greens, our lettuce, our spinach. So on the left, you can see the lettuce leaves so we're eating the leaves of the lettuce. And then if we leave the lettuce too long, it sends up a seed stalk. It looks like a monster if we leave it too long, and it produces a little yellow flower. And if we leave that flower too long and don't actually harvest it, then it produces these fluffy seed pods. Almost looks like a dandelion. Kids love to blow it away. And at that point, if we don't catch them in time, they break open. Each one of those little fluffy little parts carries seeds and they fly away on the wind. One of the things that's fun to do with kids, with lettuce seeds or something like that, is as soon as they flower, the plant flowers, if you forget it, take a paper bag and put it over the flower, and then and tie it shut with some string, and the seeds will actually ripen inside the bag and you'll have seeds that are then plantable again. So seeds can be produced on the inside or on the outside. Spinach is another example of seeds that are produced on the outside. We don't have the ability, or we did not show you the seed stalk on this, but what you can see are the nice broad leaves on the outside of the plant. And then when the leaves towards the inside change shape and become like an arrowhead, then it's getting ready to say, they didn't eat me long enough. My whole purpose is to flower and produce seed. So then it produces this monster again. Those leaves turned arrowhead shape, sends up a seed stalk, it flowers, and the spinach seeds on the right are produced. Inside, outside seeds.
And Judy, when it gets that arrow shape, doesn't it change the flavor of the lettuce?
It becomes really bitter. So normally what I recommend is, everything has a lifetime. And when we're growing lettuce or spinach, we constantly pick the outside leaves. Don't wait for it to get too large. And spinach is also intolerant of hot weather. So as soon as, it's been growing for a while and those leaves change shape, it's time to remove it from the garden, chop it up and put it in the compost pile and plant it give the space to a warm season thing. Then the kids can plant beans.
So here's a question for you all. Where are the seeds of a strawberry?
Shall we wait? Or are you going to give them the answer?
Where do you think they are? Laura and Zia, where do you think they are?
What do you think they are, Chiqui?
And all in the middle of the
Inside the fruit? You're thinking inside the fruit, like the tomato?
Or
Other ideas?
see them inside of my eyes.
Or you can see them inside.
Esmeralda says the outside, that we're actually seeing the seeds on the outside. Anybody else want to take a guess, a gander of, I don't know what you want to call it. All right. Well, if you want to chime in, get on the mic or get on the chat. Judy, where are these seeds of the strawberry?
Oh, do you have a picture of the seeds, Rob, on that slide? Seeds. Well, let me give you this is a trick question. They're actually on the outside, but when we're looking at those little depressions in the strawberry, those are actually a fruit. They're called a dry fruit. So when the flowers of the strawberry are fertilized by bees or whatever, when they visit the flowers, the fruit doesn't get larger. They produce these dry fruits. And if you were to break open one of those tiny little depressive things that look like seeds, inside that dried fruit, you would find one seed. So correct answer is they're produced outside in these dry fruits.
I learned something new and I said, hey, Judy, look at this. Aren't the seeds? Yeah, we could show them this. And the seeds are on the outside, right? And she said, well, yeah, but, and I learned something too. So
that's an interesting one. It's really a dry fruit.
I do like that.
Okay, so one of the things that's really interesting is to make the connection that seeds produce plants. So when we're buying a package of seed, the whole purpose of a plant really is to grow, to get taken care of, hopefully enough that it gets big and tall and it blooms and it's pollinated, it's visited by a bee, or its seeds are spread by the wind, it produces seed, the seeds dry, and then we plant it. So seeds have got the ability to produce, plants have got the ability to produce their own seed. They make their own food. People do not have the ability. They cook their food. So from seed that is produced by the plant, from the seeds we get in the package, we plant them in the spring. They produce a carrot. And then if we leave that carrot long enough, this is usually at the end of the season if it's getting huge, or in the second year, it produces this big fluffy seed head. It's related to parsley. And if we leave that dry, then it produces seeds for the next generation of seed. So that's a pretty amazing thing. Plants produce the seed, and when we buy a packet of seed, That's really something that was made by that plant itself.
Well, we thought we'd stop for just a little moment. We're getting towards the tail end of our program. We have a couple more activities for you, but we wanted to stop and just see if there were any questions. So if you have any questions, either get on the mic or type in the chat and let us know if you have any questions. Alice, do you have a question for me, honey? No, no questions? Are you going to be a strawberry farmer? You are, aren't you? Yeah. Anybody have any questions? It's fine if you don't. We just wanted to stop for a moment if you did. All right. Okay, well, I think we'll move on, but you type those questions and we'll stop if you need to. Here's a great book. Judy, you want to talk about this book here?
I absolutely love this book called A Seed is Sleepy, because this kind of connects seeds, what plants do, to our life cycle. So it's not only beautiful, it shows a variety of seeds. Let me read you just the first page. And I don't need to necessarily, this is just an example of the type of things that you might find in it. The first page says, a seed is sleepy. It lies there, tucked inside its flower, on its cone, or beneath the soil, snug and still. And then it gives different qualities to seeds. So another one might be.
You want to show the picture of it though? The illustrations are beautiful. Yeah.
Let me see what I've got on that one. Go back to that. I could just stop on all these pages. So a seed is sleepy. This is sunflower seeds just going inside that. Inside their shell, they're waiting for the right conditions to grow.
And it's a great book for vocabulary because it just describes these different qualities that they highlight about what a seed is.
So let me read you just two more that I love and get you excited about this book. Another quality that a seed has, a seed is inventive. To find a spot to grow, a seed might leap from its pod or cling to a child's shoelace or tumble through a bear's belly. A seed just hopes to land where there is plenty of sunlight, soil, and water.
Look at that bear.
Going through the tummy of a bear or the tummy of a bird. And let me see if there's one more thing. And then a seed is generous. It gives the baby plant a seed coat to keep it warm. So I'm not going to read you this, but this has a picture of a little seed. This was a tree seed and what it looks like. And then a whole bunch of other seeds, things that are grown from seed. So I would encourage you to get a copy of this. A seed is sleepy. I love that it's practicing vocabularies, that it has objects, it has things that kids already know, and that you can get them excited by the beauty and say, have you ever seen anything like that? Another page is, I'm not going to talk about this, a seed is adventurous. So how does a seed travel? How does it get from one place to another? So.
Very good. Well, we're going to go back to our slides and we're going to go to a poll. So be ready to answer our poll question. And this is a question taken from this book, A Seed is Sleepy. So our question is, there we go. What percentage of plants on the earth flower? Is it A, 90%, B, 70%, C, 50%, or D, 20%? Laura, it looks like you have to start the poll. So click on the poll menu there, because we're both on here. So click on the poll. Can you do it? You know what? Don't worry about it. You know what? Type in the chat or get on the mic and tell us what's the answer.
I can see the answers.
I can see it on my screen, Ralph.
Can you see it on the screen? I can't see it. So, maybe because I'm okay, good. All righty.
Got it up.
Pick your answer.
They're coming.
Okay.
And then you're going to show results there, Laura. You'll show results. So Esmeralda says 90, Rosa says 70.
Okay, so I end the poll.
Yeah, end the poll and show results. And tell us what you see, because I can't see it. Oh, you're muted, Laura.
So 50% responded 90%, 25% replied 70%, 8% said 50%, and 17 said 20%.
Yeah, so if you said 90%, you were actually right.
Oh,
There's
wow.
most of the plants on the earth currently are flowering plants. You might have heard that term angiosperm and gymnosperm. And back in historic time, prehistoric times, millions and millions of years ago, there were more gymnosperms. The difference between them are flowering bearing plants and cone bearing plants. So pine trees, redwoods, those are ancient types of trees that existed on the earth hundreds and hundreds of millions of years ago. And there were more gymnosperms, there were more cone bearing plants back then, but now, and for hundreds of millions of years, there have been more flowering plants on the earth. So 90% of our, and probably even a little bit more than that, actually. So
one of the, before we move on, one of the interesting things that kids might be interested in learning is that like pine cones bear they're called the gymnosperms, are called naked seeds because they bear their seeds right on the cone. They don't need to be inside a fruit. Whereas the angiosperms, the flowering plants, they flower and it's produced inside a fruit or on the outside.
Very good. All right, so observing seeds now makes me wonder, well, what does a seed need to grow? So actually,
we'll see how this works.
It was like, oh, that was a weird transition.
Okay,
so here we go.
Okay, so you guys know, I showed you the seeds. One of the activities, I can't show you to you in its end run, but basically what you do is you take hopefully a large seed, a Christmas lima bean or a red runner bean, and you fold it up in a moist paper towel. The towel needs to be really moist. And then you put it in a little Ziploc bag, a sandwich bag or a coin envelope, punch a hole in the coin envelope and thread a piece of string or yarn through that, seal the envelope, and your child can wear the bean necklace around their neck for a day. Of course, you're monitoring it, taking it off at bedtime. With the warmth of the child's body that stimulates germination, beginning to grow. The second day, you remove the necklace, open up that paper, open up the bag, unroll the paper towel, let your child blow on that seed while it's lying flat on the moist paper towel. That gives it what it needs in order to grow. You don't need to tell it carbon dioxide, but that helps the seed grow. Roll it up again, put it in its home, put it around the neck, and observe every day. What change do I see? It's getting bigger. I'm seeing a tiny little root come out. By the end of 5 or 6 days, when you do this, you have a little bean plant coming out. You're growing a bean right there with the child's neck. If you do this close to the time when beans should be planted, which is in May, you can very often plant that bean and have the child just say, oh my goodness, look what I'm doing. I'm growing a Jack and the Beanstalk plant.
And I have to say, I did this activity, Judy made it for me. And every day I come to work and like, Judy, my bean nothing's happening. And then one day it was like, oh, it sprouted. And I was showing everybody my bean. It's a way cool activity. I'm not.
It's great. I do it with my grandson and he just loves it.
Yeah. And the thing is, and some of the background behind that is that Judy and I like to say that a seed has its own lunchbox because it has the energy that it needs to start itself up. And then eventually it needs the energy of the sun to grow. But as a seed, if you give it all the things that it needs to grow, mostly, you know, the water and the carbon dioxide, but mostly the water, it will use that energy to grow.
Yeah, what's neat is a seed really, as Rob said, has its own food supply inside.
That's right.
Right, and until it starts to grow, that when it needs the sun, then when the shoots start coming up, then you need to give it the sun and of course then some soil. But
Exactly.
it's pretty nice to see that food factory.
I love that activity.
Fun. And then we branch into, my goodness, what do we got going here, Rob?
We've got seed art. Yay, seed art.
Seed art. So
this is our last
why don't you go to, can you put me on a full screen so I can show a couple of things?
You got it.
Okay,
So
I'm
let me
gonna
put you
hold this one
spotlight.
over another thing. Okay. Okay, oh, it's falling off because I used the wrong one. So we did this yesterday and you're gonna need to use your imagination. We used some cardstock. I would need to use probably some Elmer's glue. Bear with us, you're gonna need to use your imagination. But we drew in pencil some broccoli and then Laura helped me and one of our, oh, it's falling off. Okay, I'm holding it on, not enough glue. But we just put down some of those mixed seeds, broccoli. Another one we did, Laura was better on this one. She did it more individually. We did a carrot. Look at this. You can even be specific if you get red lentil seeds or something like that. You could just do the carrot in red and then split green peas or something for the leaves. But what a wonderful way to, you know, entice kids. You can do this at Halloween time for pumpkins. What a great thing to do, seed art, to get kids to know. And while you're doing this, if you hold it over something like this, if it falls off and it's just regular glue, then maybe you can save the seeds for planting. There you go.
Laura's saying
Seed art on that one. And then
Laura's
we've got
saying-
another project, right, on that slide that you were showing, Rob?
Uh-huh. Oh, do you want me to show it?
Yeah, I would love you to.
Okay. And
This is
Laura,
really fun.
Laura points out that activity is good for motor skills.
Oh, yes.
Being able to glue the tiny, you know, small seeds onto there. But this is another fun one here. We'll take a look at this.
Well, take a look at the end project. And then what we did is I went out to a park near my house. So this is another activity to do with your children right now. Do be aware that the Canada geese may follow behind the child and try and nip them, thinking they're going to get fed. But just gather a bunch of the pine cones that are under the
That
tree.
happened to you, that's right.
Yeah, it did it to me, that's correct. And we just put, Laura did this, we just used some pipe cleaners. We wrapped it around the pipe cleaners. I used some inexpensive peanut butter they had warmed up a little bit in the microwave because it was in the fridge. Then we took a knife and we smeared, just a butter knife would be fine, smeared it on the pine cone. And then I had some bird seed. And we basically rolled the pine cone in the bird seed and voila, we have made an instant feeder using seeds, bird seed. And we today, what Laura doesn't know is that Zia is going to get these 2 pine cones to hang in their backyard. But this is something that you can then, dreaming of the birds to come for spring. And the squirrels can eat those seeds too, Pamela says, absolutely. And it looks so yummy. So this has got, I did cheat and I purchased a seed mix, which was a Western bird mix that has less of the Milo in it. Milo is not a preferred seed for birds. So a seed mix that has the black oil sunflowers, and millet and regular sunflowers. So this gives them the energy, the protein that they would normally get, you know, the peanut butter, the energy normally get from insects, that they get from peanut butter, and then the oil seeds. So this is a great treat to put up if the squirrels get it, that's fine.
Nora says you can also do this with toilet paper rolls to create a bird feeder with the peanut butter and seeds on the outside. So yeah, if you don't have a pine cone, you can do that. Yep. Rosa's calling out, you know, kids with peanut allergies, they can use sun butter instead. And maybe, you know, maybe the birds with peanut allergies as well. I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is a very fun activity. Very, very nice. Well, my goodness, we've gone through all of our activities here. Now we're going to put another poll there. So Laura, if you want to push that poll out. Looking at the activities that we've done, seed sorting, seeds and seed packets, the bean and water, bean necklace, seed card, or peanut butter pine cone. Which one of these would you like to try the most? Or you can pick, multiple ones if you want to try them, or try them all.
Or try them all, yeah.
So Laura, go ahead and push that out and just tell us what people responded, and then.
Okay, it's coming. Hold on. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so the winner is the seed sorting.
Okay.
Then there's a tie between bean in water and peanut butter pine cone. Then the bean necklace. Then the seeds and seed packets. And then the seed card.
All right. Okay.
Wow. We got a variety of interest in these, and I don't know, this is for some reason this is making me hungry, so it's time for dinner for us. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. We'd love to get your feedback. Oops, God, I don't know why I keep skipping a slide, but I'm going to send you a link on the chat. If you have the time, please fill that out. I'll also send it out in an email with the resources that we talked about today. But we would love to get your feedback. This is a series that we're starting, and we'd love to get your feedback on there. Oh, I need to actually get my slides back. Oh, thanks, Monica. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope your drive was good, and that you were able to not be distracted too much from our session as you're driving, to be safe. But we are having upcoming dates for webinars. It's nice because it's easy to remember. It's February 16th and March 16th. We will send out information about the topics, and you can certainly go on our website when they get posted at doug.org/events. We'll continue with our series of activities, and Judy and I and Laura will be your lovely hosts. And
let me mention that we absolutely love sharing this information out.
Yeah.
Obviously, all three of us are really passionate about the younger we get to our kids and stimulate that sense of wonder and joy, the happier we are, the more we get experiential learning right around where we want it to be.
Yeah, and we know you live busy lives, so thank you for taking the time with us. Thank you for your comments, and yeah, try these activities out. Let us know how they work for you. So on behalf of Denver Urban Gardens, thank you so much, and we'll say good night and goodbye.
Thank you to our interpreter, Janet. You were amazing.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Pam.
Bye.
Alice.